We're going to take a minute and look at reference angles. Here I have the definition of a reference angle. A reference angle is the acute angle formed by the terminal side of an angle, so where it stops, and the x-axis. A reference angle is always made with the x-axis. So to give you an example, there's my initial side, there's my terminal side, so here's my angle, we'll call it theta. So my reference angle would be right there, just the rest of the way from theta to the x-axis. And I refer to that as theta hat, and I believe your book and Alex do as well. So let's look at a couple of scenarios down here in the bottom. So first, here, if I have this angle in the first quadrant is my angle, my reference angle is right there. So the reference angle and the angle would be the same in that situation. If we go around the other direction this way, if that's my angle, the reference angle is still the same. It's still the red spot there, okay? If my angle is in the second quadrant, like we did a minute ago, if this is my angle, then my reference angle is the red dot. If I go in the negative direction, so use the coterminal angle there to get my angle, so that would be a negative angle instead of a positive, my reference angle is still the red dot, always from the end to the positive x-axis. If we're in the third quadrant, here, and we go around this direction, my reference angle is right there from the end to the x-axis. If we choose to do a negative angle and we go around the other direction, the red dot is still my reference angle. Lastly, if my angle is in the fourth quadrant, right here, then, we would go around this way, right? That would be the positive angle. There's my reference angle. And the reference angle, again, does not change if we go around in the negative direction. So let's look at some examples. So first, the reference angle for 150 degrees. So 150 degrees starts here, right? I already put that in. And 150 is here. So we're coming here for 150 degrees. And we need to know what's left. So my reference angle would be 180, because that's how far we want to get, minus the 150 we already have, so 30 degrees. 10 pi over 9. So first we have to decide where, in what quadrant that lies. Well, pi would be equal to 9 pi over 9. So this angle is just a little bit more than pi, so it must be in the third quadrant. So here it is, all the way around because we're going positive. That's 10 pi over 9. And we want to know how much is left right there. So what we're looking for is the excess, what goes over pi. So we would be looking for our whole thing, 10 pi over 9, minus pi, which is 10 pi over 9, minus 9 pi over 9, which is pi over 9, would be my reference angle. For 345 degrees, there he is, and we're going all the way this way because that's a positive angle, 345. So we need what's left over. So to find it, we would have 360 minus the 345. So 15 degrees. Okay, so now we're going negative 300 degrees. So we're going to end up here in the fourth quadrant, but now we're going, we're going to go negative 300. So we're going to end up back in the first quadrant. Sorry, I was going positive there for a second. So all the way around here is negative 300 degrees. I need to go the rest of the way, right? So I need to do 360 minus 300, and that's 60 degrees. Negative 7 pi over 9. So when we get to these that are the fractions, sometimes that's a little bit difficult. So what I want to do is figure out what over 9 would be pi over 2. Because I know that every quadrant there gets us pi over 2, right? So if we solve this, we get 2x is 9 pi. So x is 4.5 pi. So 4.5 pi over 9 is equal to pi over 2. So if I was doing 7 pi over 9, that means I'm not going to hit the third quadrant, right, as I go through. So this is negative 7 pi over 9. So we will be coming in this direction there. There's negative 7 pi over 9. And we know we don't hit the axis and go into the next quadrant because that would be negative pi, and that's negative 9 pi over 9. So my reference angle is that spot right there. And so we just want to know what's left, right? So we want to do pi minus 7 pi over 9. And pi would be 9 pi over 9 minus 7 pi over 9, which is 2 pi over 9. Negative 4 pi over 15. So again, we're going to need to do a little work here and see. We know that 15 pi over 15 would be pi, right? So half of that, let's think about this one in a different way than we did the last one. Half of that would be 7.5 pi over 15 would be the same as pi over 2, right? Half of it. So since this is 4 pi, that means it doesn't go all the way into a quadrant, right? We're just going to go a little bit. And so this is negative 4 pi over 15. So we're coming here in this direction, negative 4 pi over 15. And I know it doesn't cross into the next quadrant because then it would have to be more than 7.5 pi over 15. So my reference angle is there, and it's the same angle, right? But it has to be positive. So my reference angle is 4 pi over 15. Okay, 17 pi over 12. So we know that pi would be 12 pi over 12, right? And we know that pi over 2 then would be 6 pi over 12. And if you want to go a little further, 3 pi over 2 would be, let's see, we'd have 12 and 6 would be 18 pi over 12. So I know that I'm passing the first axis or the first quadrant and passing the second one, but not passing the third one. And so this is 17 pi over 12. So, I was almost going to use the wrong color. We're positive. So it's coming down here. There's 17 pi over 12. And we want the reference angle, so it's right there. And so that reference angle, we're going to have to subtract out the pi. So 17 pi over 12 minus pi, which is the same as subtracting 12 pi over 12, which is 5 pi over 12. Again, it's always positive. And then let's look here at 576, because 576 goes around the circle more than once, right? So first, let's get rid of the excess. So we want to subtract a rotation out of that, and we're going to get, what, 216 degrees. Now we can figure that part out. So 216 is going to land me here in the third quadrant. There's 216 degrees. My reference angle is right there. So I'm going to do 216 minus 180. We want to take out that top half and see what we're left with. And that's going to be, what, 36 degrees? Last one, negative 47 pi over 12. So we want to get rid of some of those rotations, but if we subtract them, then we're going to kind of be adding them, right, since it's negative. So we are going to add the equivalent of a rotation. So if this is in pi over 12, then 2 pi would be 24 pi over 12. So if we add that, we get a negative 23 pi over 12. That's what's left. And notice that's just short of the 2 pi, which means that we're going around this direction and ending up here. There's negative 23 pi over 12. There's my reference angle. It's just going to be the rest of the way. So 2 pi minus 23 pi over 12, which is really 24 pi over 12 minus 23 pi over 12, which is pi over 12. There you go.